Hey there, it's me, Nate, and I'm back again to talk to you guys about what I've been reading this week. Now, last week I talked about Star Wars Dark Disciple that I was reading. I ended up DNFing that one, and I actually gave that copy away to a friend, so I'll have the cover, the cover somewhere here on the screen. But I thought the premise was interesting, but I feel like the author wasn't able to make Quinlan Voss or Ventress interesting enough as characters that you want to follow what they're doing, which I think is a hard task because even in the Clone Wars show, Ventress was more interesting as a kind of like rival or antagonistic character, and Quinlan was more of like a buddy cop character, like side character. So I don't think they were able to make them compelling enough for like a solo adventure in the show. And since Dark Disciple is like an arc of the show that never got finished, I can't really blame the author for that, Christy Golden. I think she did a good enough job of what she had. But moving on from there, I had mentioned Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and this is her super villain sci-fi novel. Some people would say superhero fantasy, but it's not really fantasy. It's sci-fi. They get their powers from like science, and it's okay. I remember when I first read this, when I got it years ago, I thought it was, just all right, and I never got around to getting the second book. And this time around, I still don't really like it that much. I think if I was younger, if this was younger me reading this, like when I was like 14 or 15, I may have liked it. But even then, I find Victor and Eli, like the two main characters of the book, I find them both kind of just obnoxious. Neither one of them to me are interesting protagonistic characters. Not saying that I need not saying that I need like good guy protagonist characters, but they're not interesting enough as characters to follow for me. Kind of a similar thing as Prince of Thorns, but I think Vicious is a far cry from being as good as Prince of Thorns. And I even had DNF'd Prince of Thorns, so this definitely didn't work for me. But moving on to what I'm currently reading, which is Sword of Destiny. Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. And this is the second Witcher book. In the timeline, the chronological timeline of the Witcher books, it is the second book. Well, that's not true. There's prequels, aren't there? Well, anyway, this is the second Witcher book after The Last Wish. So you read The Last Wish, which is the first kind of like short story collection of Witcher. Then you go straight into Sword of Destiny, which is what I'm reading now. And then you follow that up with Blood of Elves, which is the first novel of the Witcher series. So I am currently, I think I'm about... I'm a bit over 1/3 of the way through Sword of Destiny. I'm probably later today going to go ahead and crank out the rest of this, so I can have a review for you guys tomorrow to watch, since I didn't have a review for you guys to watch last week. And so in this, it's continuing on with Geralt's kind of like journeys and adventures after The Last Wish. And there's 6 stories in this book. I've read the first 2. The first one, The Bounds of Reason, I thought it was pretty good. That you get a little bit more, Geralt and Yennefer, and they meet like this, and they run into each other like on this like dragon hunt. That's a good story. And then the second story, Shard of Ice, is a Geralt and Yennefer, another story of their toxic, heated romance. one thing after I felt after reading The Last Wish and now and what I've read so far of Sword of Destiny is I really don't like the Geralt Yennefer relationship. I understand it's very like a classical, almost like poetry, like melodramatic romance, where like sometimes they love they love each other, sometimes they hate each other, and they cause each other pain. But at the end of the day, or eventually, they always find their way back to each other. That's all well and all. That's all nice and all, but like reading what actually happens between the two of them, it's this constant like toxic relationship. So I'm not super compelled by their romance. I'm not saying that all romances are perfect. This might even be a more realistic romance than those that are in like some other novels. But still, I can't really get behind like the romance. Like I'm just like, so the second story, Shard of Ice, it didn't really work for me. Because basically, Shard of Ice is about Yennefer being indecisive between her feelings for Geralt and another like a wizard that she also has like equal feelings for. So it's this it's basically a love triangle story. I really didn't like it. And I feel like Sikowski in that story was really feeling himself with his prose. I know, at least with the short stories, they feel like it's very like literary fiction. And to me, I was like, I don't know. I feel like you're getting a little bit higher on your own supply here. I kind of want you to just like move it along a little bit. But none of these stories are like super long. I think each one's like 50 to 80 pages long. So like it never lingers too bad. So even though I didn't like Shard of Ice, I was past it pretty quick. And now I am on the third story, which the Eternal Flame? Eternal Flame is the third story, and I'm on that one right now. So I don't have much of an opinion on that one right now, to give. But yeah, that's what I'm reading right now, Sword of Destiny. And then, next up, I plan on reading Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. This is the first book of the... it's either Mad Adam trilogy or the Madadam trilogy. I don't know how it's pronounced. But basically, so this takes place, it's like apocalyptic story. It takes place in the future. And Snowman, whose real name is Jimmy, might be like the final human left in the world. And it's kind of the story about like him, dealing with the world as it is now, but also kind of like a love story between like the love story between him and Oryx, who is this beautiful girl, and then like him dealing with the loss of his best friend Crake, who also was in love with Oryx. So I don't know a whole lot about this book. I got this for a birthday probably a decade plus ago from my sister, and I remember at the time reading a little bit of it and thinking that this was like overcomplicated at the time. So I'm curious, what I think about it now, because the premise seems really interesting, and I really like dystopian post-apocalyptic future stories. Like for example, for those who have seen it, I reviewed The Giver on this channel either early this year or late last year. And I really like The Giver. I think that's a great book. So I'm looking forward to more stories like that. I mean, not that they have to be just like The Giver, but more, post-apocalyptic, dystopian, sci-fi future. So yeah, I really like that kind of thing. But that's it for me this week. I don't really have anything else going on. So in the comments down below, if you could let me know what you guys are reading. If you're reading anything at all, or and if you're not reading anything, whether you're watching a TV show or playing a video game, just let me know what you're doing. And if you could also like this video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, have a good day.